On May 14th, President Biden announced that the U.S. will quadruple tariffs on electric vehicles or EVs from China, raising them from roughly 25% to 100%. Additionally, tariffs on key industries including semiconductors, solar panels, and batteries will also be increased.
That's why today I'm announcing new tariffs in key sectors of the economy that will ensure that our workers are not held back by unfair trade practices.
It is likely no coincidence that EVs, lithium batteries, and solar panels are the three new things China hopes will replace its sinking real estate sector and rejuvenate its economy. These exports, bolstered by government subsidies, have surged in recent years due to their price advantage, positioning them to dominate the international market. This new round of tariffs is both timely and strategically significant. To address the complexity of U.S.-China relations, the U.S. needs a paradigm shift, adopting a proactive rather than reactive approach, and thinking creatively to maximize our strengths is essential. Diplomatic and military challenges are sometimes best solved through non-diplomatic and non-military means, as exemplified by President Reagan's strategy against the Soviet Union. China has a comprehensive strategy on issues ranging from Taiwan to global competition with the United States. Beijing is proactive in its dealing of Sino-US relations, while the US has been more reactive. The main element of the Biden administration's foreign policy has been to prevent escalation. From Ukraine to Israel to the Taiwan Strait, the US has been passively reacting to deteriorating situations. 3 weeks ago, at the end of his Beijing visit, Secretary Blinken issued a stern warning during a press conference. He emphasized that China's provision of critical components to Russia for weapon production was exacerbating the conflict and threatening European security. Blinken stressed that if China didn't stop, the U.S. would act. Blinken's statement is a clear message to China, signaling potential consequences. However, it also underscores the dilemma the United States faces in addressing such challenges. Historically, the Chinese Communist Party has skillfully navigated these situations by calibrating its provocations to avoid significant retaliations. This approach allows the CCP to pursue its objectives without facing substantial blowback. For example, by refraining from directly supplying arms to Russia, China avoids provoking strong diplomatic and military responses from the United States and its allies. Although the United States may impose sanctions on implicated entities, such measures have limited impact on the CCP's strategy. Despite Xi Jinping's promise to curb China's civil-military fusion exports to Russia during his European visit, it is doubtful that this will be executed sincerely. China excels at finding loopholes and circumventing restrictions. Beijing views its support for Russia in the Russia-Ukraine conflict as a means to exhaust U.S. military, economic, and political resources, thereby diverting attention from the Taiwan Strait. This strategic calculus is evident in the Taiwan Strait as well. Through the gradual expansion of maritime patrols and frequent military airspace violations, China is steadily asserting de facto control over the strait. The United States has been largely reactive in its response, constrained by its reluctance to escalate tensions to the point of direct confrontation. This reactive posture does not effectively deter Beijing. While Beijing aims to annex Taiwan without resorting to open conflict, it has also prepared a contingency plan. Xi Jinping is aware of the consequences of Western sanctions against aggressive entities. Over the past 2 years, China has tried to fortify its economy against such sanctions through various means, including intensified transactional partnership with allies in the global south, securing significant reserves of oil and gas from Russia, and amassing a substantial quantity of gold as a potential war chest. Notably, China's foreign currency reserves have reached $3.22 trillion, the highest of any country. In a May 2nd testimony to Congress, Director of National Intelligence Avril Haines stated, "We see China and Russia for the first time exercising together in relation to Taiwan and recognizing that this is a place where China definitely wants Russia to be working with them, and we see no reason why they wouldn't." The joint military exercises between China and Russia likely serve as a deterrent to the U.S. as Beijing assesses that the U.S. would hesitate to engage with two nuclear powers simultaneously if China were to invade Taiwan. Beijing is correct that the U.S. faces a major dilemma. On one hand, focusing on de-escalation could be perceived as weak and lacking resolve, potentially inviting further aggression, exemplified by the U.S.'s embarrassing withdrawal from Afghanistan, which may have inspired Putin's second invasion of Ukraine. On the other hand, the U.S. is no longer capable of serving as the global police force, engaging in multiple conflicts simultaneously. Former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense Elbridge Colby has noted in a Hoover Institute interview that the U.S. might not be able to fight one war, let alone multiple wars.
Now we are in a position where we do not have a two-war military. We will not have a two. We don't have a one-war military yet. We're not clear that we have a one. We might lose the big war, very plausibly.
Thus, it must choose between Taiwan, Israel, and Ukraine if it has to. However, the U.S. cannot afford to let Ukraine fall, even if it prioritizes Taiwan. If Ukraine falls, Xi Jinping could be greatly encouraged to act on Taiwan. Therefore, the U.S. needs Ukraine to win or at least reach a favorable position at the negotiation table before Beijing acts on Taiwan. This is a significant gamble. In conclusion, there are no good options for the U.S. if it tries to solve these foreign policy challenges and military threats using traditional diplomatic or military means. Instead, the United States should think outside the box and leverage its strengths to target the weakness of China, thereby breaking the balance of power and forcing China to change its mind. The biggest advantage the U.S. currently has over China is its economy. The U.S. economy is strong while China's domestic demand is weak, with consumption and investment barely moving. The only bright spot in China's economy right now is the three new things, with electric vehicle exports being the most dominant. China's EV exports have already contributed more to GDP growth than real estate. China desperately needs to maintain its export growth momentum and expectations. At the same time, China needs foreign investors to bring capital and technology into the country. China needs foreign investment because Chinese entrepreneurs are not borrowing China's own money due to a lack of confidence in the country's economic outlook, and much of the money issued by the state is idling in banks. The money brought by foreign investors is not only financial capital but also a source of confidence. Foreign investment can significantly stimulate local investment activities in China. China also needs foreign technology, and Musk's success in China serves as a model for the CCP. One Tesla factory has boosted the entire electric car industry in China. China needs advanced technology from the West to help complete its industrial upgrading. Furthermore, China needs foreign markets more than anything else because its domestic demand is weak and cannot sustain consumption. Without strong exports, China's economy is on the brink of collapse. This is why Xi Jinping sternly denied that China has an overcapacity problem or that it is intentionally flooding global markets with Chinese products, because exports are China's economic lifeline. All these aspects are China's immediate needs. Xi Jinping and Li Qiang have been actively courting U.S. business leaders, making no secret of their intentions. If the United States target these so-called economic advantages of China, such as government subsidies, it will have a big impact on China's economy, forcing Beijing to reconsider its strategies. Therefore, President Biden's decision to significantly raise tariffs on China's 3 new things is a good move. Additionally, carbon neutrality goals in the US and Europe underpin China's strong growth in photovoltaic products. 80% of the world's solar panels are produced in Xinjiang, China, because the production process is too polluting for the US and Europe. If the US and Europe's carbon neutral goals change, it would devastate the 3 new things that support China's economy. Finally, the United States must rebuild its manufacturing base to genuinely outcompete China. Over the past few decades, America's manufacturing sector has been gutted, while China has developed the most complete industrial chain. Take shipbuilding, for example. The Office of Naval Intelligence recently assessed that China's shipbuilding industry fills 232 times the shipbuilding capacity of the United States, representing almost 50% of total global shipbuilding capacity. If this doesn't change, the US will eventually lag behind. President Reagan famously said during the Cold War that the US goal was we win, they lose. Today's American leaders hesitate to make such bold statements. However, without this resolve, the United States cannot prevail. U.S. leaders must be courageous enough to declare the goal of the United States is to win. The U.S. must triumph over China in terms of a comprehensive national power by leveraging its immense economic strength and demonstrating unwavering determination. The U.S. can re-establish its prestige, thereby deterring and inhibiting the Chinese Communist Party, leaving it in no condition to, and not daring to, challenge Taiwan or pose a significant threat to the existing world order.